In the cold, silent vastness of space, where stars whisper ancient secrets, a single act of kindness was about to ignite a fire that would burn across the galaxy. This is a story of courage found in the darkest of places, of debts repaid with sacrifice, and of how saving one life can change the fate of millions. Dr. Olivia Grant had forgotten what sunshine felt like. 4 years of captivity aboard the hegemony vessel, the Dominance, had reduced her world to gray metal walls and flickering lights. She was once Earth's leading quantum biologist, dreaming of peaceful alien contact. Now, she was just specimen 7749, another interesting animal for her captors to study. She wasn't alone. The detention level held hundreds of captives from conquered worlds. In the cell beside hers was Torvin, a massive being of crystalline scales who hummed sad, ancient songs. Across the way lived Priya, a small creature with 6 delicate wings the hegemony had clipped. Further down was Rex, whose bioluminescent skin had grown dull without proper sunlight. Today began like any other soul-crushing day. Tasteless nutrient paste, mechanical guard patrols, a daily collection of samples. But then the ship shuddered. Olivia felt the vibration through the wall. Something was wrong. The lights flickered, and a deep, wailing alarm began to cry out from the ship's belly. She rushed to the small window in her cell door. Hegemony crew members were running, their usual calm replaced with raw panic. The ship lurched violently, throwing Olivia against the wall. Red emergency lights bathed the corridor, the alarm growing louder, more insistent. Through her window, she saw other prisoners pressing against their doors, their faces a mixture of confusion and fear. Then a massive explosion rocked the vessel, knocking her to the floor. Smoke poured from the ceiling. The air filled with the acrid smell of burning circuits. An announcement crackled over the speakers in the clicking hegemony language. After 4 years, Olivia understood enough. Core breach. Evacuation. 20 minutes. 20 minutes until the ship exploded. 20 minutes to live. Olivia watched as the crew scrambled for the escape pods, their backs turned to the prisoner cells. They were property, and property was replaceable. She sat on her hard bed, her mind drifting to Earth, to her sister Rebecca, to all the research she would never finish. At least death would be quick, a mercy after years in this cage. The ship groaned again, the metal warping under the immense stress. The temperature was rising. Olivia closed her eyes, trying to remember the smell of grass, the feel of rain on her skin, the sound of her mother's laugh. Then footsteps. She opened her eyes. 3 figures moved through the smoke, not running towards the escape pods, but stopping at cell doors. They were opening them. They reached her door. Through the haze, she saw Torvin, his crystalline scales reflecting the red emergency lights. Beside him stood Senna, a thin, gray-skinned alien who once worked in the medical bay. And behind them, Rax, his skin now pulsing with determined light. The door hissed open. "Get up," Torvin's deep voice rumbled. "We are leaving this ship, and you are coming with us." Olivia stared, confused. "Why? Why would you save me?" Senna stepped forward. 3 years ago, I collapsed. The others would have let me die, but you saved me. You had no reason to, but you did. And you taught me human mathematics," Rax added, his skin flashing with color. "You proved I was more than the primitive they called me. You gave me back my dignity." Torvin's face, hard to read for a human, somehow conveyed pure warmth. "You sang to me when I was sick, your human songs of hope. You reminded me I was more than a prisoner. Now we return the favor." Tears streamed down Olivia's face. "But you'll be killed if they catch you." "The ship is dying anyway," Senna said pragmatically. "There is one working shuttle in Bay 7. It's small, it's old, but Torvin can fly it. We have 12 minutes." They moved through the chaotic corridors, freeing other prisoners as they went. They couldn't save everyone. Some locks were too complex, some prisoners too weak to run. The detention level was a storm of freed prisoners running in all directions. This way? Torvin called, leading them down a narrow maintenance shaft. The metal was hot, the smoke thick. They crawled through tight spaces, dripping pipes and sparking wires all around them. They emerged in Shuttle Bay 7, a forgotten, dusty corner of the ship. In the corner sat a single shuttle, its hull scarred, one engine clearly damaged. Can that thing even fly? Olivia asked. Torvin gave it an expert look. Main propulsion is functional. We'll be slow, but we'll move. How long until core breach? Senna asked, already loading supplies. Rax checked a stolen device. 8 minutes and 17 seconds. They worked with desperate speed. Torvin powered up the ancient engines. Senna secured supplies. Rax helped Olivia into a harness. The small craft coughed to life, shaking violently. All aboard, Torvin announced, sealing the hatch. Hold on. The shuttle launched just as another explosion tore through the dominance. Through the viewport, Olivia watched the massive prison ship break apart, escape pods streaming away like seeds. Their little shuttle was the last to leave, limping into the void. Torvin pushed the throttle as far as it would go. Warning lights flashed. 5 minutes, he said. We need to be at least 40,000 kilometers away. Current speed puts us at only 28,000, Rax reported, his skin pulsing with anxiety. They flew in tense silence, watching their prison shrink behind them. 3 minutes, Senna whispered. 32,000 kilometers, Rax said. Not enough. Olivia gripped her harness, her knuckles white. These three had risked everything for her. Now they would all die together. 2 minutes. 35,000 kilometers. 1 minute. 38,000 kilometers. Torvin's hands were a blur on the controls, redirecting all non-essential power to engines. Life support, communications, everything. The shuttle went cold and dark, but their speed picked up. 30 seconds. 41,000 kilometers. 20 seconds. 43,000. 10 seconds. 45,000 kilometers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The dominance exploded in a sphere of light, a new star born in the darkness. The shockwave hit their shuttle like the fist of a god. The craft spun wildly. Systems blew. Olivia was thrown against her harness. She heard Senna cry out, saw Rax's light flare in panic. Torvin fought the controls, but the shuttle was dead in the water. For terrifying minutes, they tumbled through space. Then, slowly, the spinning stopped. The debris thinned. Emergency systems flickered back to life. Is everyone alive? Torvin's voice cut through the silence. They were bruised, cut, and Senna's arm was twisted, but they were breathing. They had survived. Where are we? Olivia asked, her voice shaking. Rax got the navigation working. Far off course. The explosion pushed us into an uncharted region. But I'm detecting a signal. Artificial. What kind? Unknown. But it's repeating. Can we reach it? Torvin asked. Rax calculated. Yes, it will take 14 hours on remaining power. Life support? Olivia asked. Barely, Torvin replied. If we stay very still. So they drifted through the void, a fragile bubble of life. To pass the time, they told stories. Olivia spoke of Earth's oceans and forests. Torvin described his homeworld's crystal mountains that sang in the wind. Senna spoke of art, and Rax of ancient philosophy. What will you do if we survive? Senna asked Olivia. Find my people, she said, her voice firm. Tell them what happened. And after that? Fight back. The hegemony made a mistake when they caged us. They should have killed us all when they had the chance. The signal grew stronger. Finally, they saw its source. A massive station built into the heart of a dead moon. A trading hub. Neutral territory. a place where the hegemony couldn't touch them. Their battered shuttle limped into a dock. This was a place for people to escape questions, a haven in the stars. But for Olivia Grant, it wasn't an end. It was a new beginning. Her debt was not just to the 3 aliens who saved her, but to every life lost on the Dominance. The fire of rebellion had been lit, and she would carry its flame back to humanity. The galaxy would soon learn that caging a human is one thing, but letting one escape is a mistake you only make once. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from across the cosmos. We'll see you in the next one. The briefing room aboard the Defiance had become Olivia's second home. Maps of hegemony territories covered every surface, each red dot a life waiting to be saved. Standing before the officers of the Liberation Front, her companions beside her, she felt the weight of every single one. Torvin's crystalline scales caught the light as he gestured to a display. Senna sat quietly, her arm now healed. Rax's bioluminescence pulsed steadily as he translated intercepted communications. Olivia pointed to a location on the star map. This facility on Epsilon Station holds approximately 400 prisoners from 17 different species. Security is moderate. If we strike fast and withdraw immediately, we can save them all. Commander Brooks studied the data, his eyes weary. The last 3 rescue attempts cost us 2 ships and 43 crew members. What makes this different? Because this time we have help, Olivia said. The door opened and Whisper entered, its shifting form making officers reach for their weapons. Behind the information broker came a dozen other aliens, representing different resistance cells. These are representatives from the underground network, Olivia continued. Whisper has agreed to coordinate their efforts with ours. A human officer stood abruptly. You want us to trust aliens? After what the hegemony did to Earth? Torvin's deep voice rumbled through the room. The hegemony is not all aliens. The hegemony is a government built on conquest and cruelty. These beings fight against that government just as you do. We are all prisoners of the same enemy. Whisper's form solidified. My people were conquered 40 years ago. I have built networks across 50 star systems. I have waited for someone brave enough to turn scattered resistance into coordinated rebellion. Dr. Grant's message has given us that opportunity. The room fell silent. Finally, a captain spoke up. What exactly are you proposing? A simultaneous strike, Olivia said, pulling up multiple locations. The underground network has identified 12 prison facilities. If we coordinate our attacks, the hegemony will have to spread their forces thin, giving each team a better chance. We don't have enough ships, Brooks stated. You do if you count our vessels, said a 4-armed alien representative. The network has 43 ships capable of combat. Not military grade, but they can fight and carry rescued prisoners. Another, covered in living moss, stepped forward. My people control a manufacturing facility for medical supplies. We can provide everything needed. A third added, and I can offer safe havens. The network has been saving resources for years. We can afford to buy temporary sanctuary. Brooks looked at Olivia. You really think this can work? Olivia thought of her 4 years in a cell, of the friends she lost. I think we have to try. Because if we don't, then everyone still trapped in those facilities will die without hope. And I refuse to let that happen. Determination replaced the weariness in Brooks's expression. Begin mission planning, he ordered. I want detailed tactical assessments for all 12 targets within 48 hours. Over the next weeks, the Liberation Front transformed. Human crews worked alongside aliens, sharing knowledge and building trust. Torvin helped improve their ship systems. Senna trained medics in multi-species care. Rax worked to break hegemony encryption. Olivia became a bridge, translating not just languages, but cultures. She saw human soldiers learn that not all aliens were enemies, and alien freedom fighters realized that humans were more than the hegemony claimed. One evening, she found Commander Brooks on the observation deck. "May I join you?" He nodded. "I've been thinking about your aliens," he said. "They're not my aliens," Olivia replied gently. "They're people who chose kindness when cruelty was easier." "When Earth fell, I hated all aliens," Brooks admitted. "It was easier than accepting we were unprepared. But now I see Torvin repairing our fighters, Senna comforting a human child, Rax solving problems our best mathematicians couldn't. I realized that hate was making me blind. My sister Rebecca used to say the universe was too big for only one kind of good person," Olivia said. "She believed that somewhere out there were others who valued courage, compassion, justice." She was right. "Do you think we can win?" Brooks asked. "I think we can save lives," Olivia replied. "And every life we save is a victory the hegemony cannot take away." The day of the coordinated strike arrived, buzzing with nervous energy. 12 teams were in position, waiting. Olivia would lead the assault on Epsilon Station. "Remember," she told her team, "we are there to rescue. Get the prisoners to the transports and leave. Speed is more important than heroics." The operation began exactly on schedule. Across 12 star systems, resistance ships attacked simultaneously. At Epsilon Station, Olivia's team breached the facility using stolen codes. They moved with practiced efficiency, releasing prisoners and directing them to transports. The hegemony guards were completely overwhelmed. In the detention block, Olivia opened cell after cell. Humans and aliens stumbled out, dazed and disbelieving. Some were too weak to walk. Others wept with joy. An elderly human woman grabbed Olivia's arm. "How? How did you find us?" "Aliens saved my life," Olivia said simply. "Now we're saving yours." That's how resistance works. The evacuation took 17 minutes. Every prisoner was loaded before hegemony reinforcements arrived. As their ship pulled away, Olivia watched enemy cruisers appear, too late. Across the other 11 facilities, similar scenes played out. Not every operation was perfect, but the results were staggering. They had rescued 3,247 prisoners. Humans, Korak, Velter, and dozens of other species. The rescued were taken to the safe havens, where medical teams and counselors awaited them. And slowly, a larger resistance began to form. 3 months later, Olivia stood before an assembly that would have once been impossible. Representatives from 43 resistance groups, spanning 30 different species, filled the hall. "For too long," Olivia said, her voice carrying through the room. "We have fought alone, but no more. Today we stand together. We have proven that coordinated resistance works. We have shown the hegemony that their empire is not invincible." Whisper's form glowed. "The network is ready to expand operations. We have identified 23 more facilities. And you will have them," Brooks announced. "The Liberation Front commits all our resources to this alliance." One by one, other representatives made similar pledges. What began with 3 aliens saving 1 human was becoming a true multi-species resistance, united by shared values. After the assembly, Olivia found Torvin, Senna, and Rax on an observation deck. Ships from dozens of worlds were preparing for the next wave of operations. "Look at what you started," she said. Torvin's face somehow conveyed a smile. "We didn't start this." "You did, when you treated us like people worth saving. We all started it together," Senna added. "Every act of kindness builds on the ones before it." Rax's bioluminescence pulsed with satisfaction. The hegemony believes that fear and force are the only powers that matter. We are proving them wrong. Olivia looked out at the fleet. The war was far from over, but something fundamental had changed. They saved 1 human, she thought, and humanity returned to rescue them all. Not just humans, but everyone who deserved freedom. That was the promise she would keep, no matter how long it took. Thanks for watching. Get aboard. Quickly. My ship is not pretty, but she is fast. The interior of the stray dog matched its exterior, functional but worn. The cargo hold was filled with containers that Olivia suspected held smuggled goods. Cade led them to a small passenger compartment with basic bunks and life support. Strap in, he ordered. The hegemony ships are already launching patrol craft. We need to be gone before they seal the station. The stray dog pulled away from the dock just as the first hegemony patrol ships reached the station. Through the viewport, Olivia could see the massive hegemony cruisers, each one large enough to destroy a small moon. Their weapon systems glowed with charging energy, ready to fire if the station did not cooperate. Can we outrun them? Senna asked nervously. Cade smiled grimly as his hands moved across the controls. The hegemony builds ships for power and intimidation. I build mine for speed and tricks. Watch this. He activated the ship's engines fully, and the stray dog accelerated away from Haven's edge much faster than its battered appearance suggested possible. Alarms immediately sounded from the hegemony cruisers as they detected the fleeing ship. They are targeting us. Rax reported, watching the sensor displays. Let them try. Cade said calmly. The first energy blasts from the hegemony cruisers reached out across the distance. Cade threw the ship into a series of evasive maneuvers that would have torn apart a normal freighter. But the stray dog held together, its reinforced hull and enhanced engines performing exactly as designed. More patrol craft are launching. Torvin warned. Cade activated another system, and suddenly the sensor displays showed dozens of ships where before there had been only one. Holographic decoys, he explained. The hegemony sensors cannot tell which target is real. By the time they figure it out, we will be gone. He aimed the ship toward a nearby nebula, a thick cloud of gas and dust that would hide them from pursuit. The stray dog plunged into the swirling colors, and the hegemony ships fell behind, still firing at holographic ghosts. Inside the nebula, Cade finally allowed himself to relax. We are safe for now. The nebula interferes with their tracking systems. But we cannot stay here long. Where do you need to go? Olivia thought about the message they had sent. If it reached human forces in 6 weeks, there would be an opportunity to rescue prisoners. But only if she could provide real-time intelligence to help plan those rescues. I need to find human military forces, she said. Do you know where they are? Cade's expression became guarded. That information could get many people killed if it falls into the wrong hands. I am not hegemony, Olivia said firmly. I am a prisoner they experimented on for 4 years. These 3 aliens risked everything to save me. Now I want to help save others. Cade looked at Torvin, Senna, and Rax. Why did you save her? Humans are not your species. You owed her nothing. Torvin spoke in his deep, rumbling voice. She treated us like people when everyone else treated us like things. She gave us back our dignity. That debt required repayment. Cade was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. There is a human resistance fleet operating in the Outer Rim. They call themselves the Liberation Front. I have carried supplies to them before. But I warn you, they are desperate and angry. 4 years of hiding and hit and run attacks have made them hard. Take us to them, Olivia said. I have information they need, and a story they need to hear. The journey to the Outer Rim took 3 weeks through hidden routes and smuggler paths that avoided hegemony patrols. During that time, Olivia learned that Cade was not the only free human. Thousands had escaped during the initial invasion, fleeing in whatever ships they could steal or buy. They had scattered across the galaxy, some joining alien resistance groups, others forming their own cells. The Liberation Front was the largest organized human military force still fighting. They operated from hidden bases in asteroid fields and dead systems, constantly moving to avoid hegemony detection. Their ships were a mix of salvaged human vessels, captured hegemony craft, and modified civilian ships like the Stray Dog. When they finally reached the rendezvous coordinates, Olivia saw the fleet for the first time. 37 ships of various sizes and capabilities, all bearing makeshift weapons and armor. It was not the mighty Earth Defense Force she remembered from before the war, but it was hope. Cade contacted the fleet command, and within an hour, they were escorted to the flagship, a former colony transport called the Defiance. Olivia, Torvin, Senna, and Rax were brought before the fleet commander in a briefing room that had once been the ship's observation lounge, now Commander Jackson. Brooks was a weathered man in his 50s who looked like he had aged a decade in 4 years. His uniform was a patchwork of military and civilian clothing, but his eyes were sharp and intelligent. Dr. Grant, he said, recognizing her from old military databases. We thought you were dead. Intelligence said the hegemony executed all the scientists they captured. They wanted to study us first, Olivia replied. I have been their prisoner for 4 years. These 3 aliens saved my life when the prison ship was destroyed. Brooks looked at Torvin, Senna, and Rax with obvious suspicion. Why would aliens help a human? Because kindness should be repaid with kindness, Torvin said simply. Olivia stepped forward. Commander, I have detailed intelligence about hegemony prison operations. Locations, security protocols, prisoner populations. Everything needed to plan rescue missions. But more importantly, I have proof that not all aliens support the hegemony. Some are willing to help us. Some are waiting for someone to lead a real resistance. Brooks leaned back in his chair. We have been fighting this war for 4 years with nothing but losses and retreats. Every battle costs us ships and people we cannot replace. Why should I believe anything will change? Because 6 weeks ago, I sent a message through a secret communication network, Olivia said. That message contained everything I know about hegemony operations. And because 3 aliens risked their lives to save 1 human, I can tell you with certainty that we are not alone in this fight. Brooks was silent, thinking. Finally, he looked at his officers. If this information is accurate, we could plan real rescue operations instead of suicide missions. We could start actually saving people instead of just annoying the hegemony. There is more, Olivia added. The hegemony responded to my message by sending 6 battle cruisers to destroy the trading station where we sent it from. That means they are afraid of what happens when their prisoners start getting rescued. They are afraid of resistance movements connecting with each other. We can use that fear. Commander Brooks stood and extended his hand to Olivia. Welcome to the Liberation Front, Dr. Grant. Let us discuss how to turn your information into action. The trading station called Haven's Edge existed in the spaces between governments and laws, a pocket of freedom carved into the corpse of a dead moon. Its tunnels stretched for kilometers through ancient rock, connecting markets and workshops, and living quarters where beings from 100 different worlds made their temporary homes. The air was thick with the mingled scents of exotic spices, burning metals, and the distinctive smell of dozens of different atmospheric requirements mixing together. Olivia walked through the crowded main corridor with her 3 companions, still, amazed that she could move freely without guards or chains. Vendors called out in multiple languages, offering goods both legal and questionable. Music from several different cultures competed for attention. Beings of every imaginable shape and size moved past them, each focused on their own business in this sanctuary between the stars. They had been on Haven's Edge for 5 days now, living in a cramped storage room above a repair shop. Torvin had found work fixing damaged machinery, his natural understanding of mechanical systems making him valuable to the station's merchants. The credits he earned kept them fed and housed, but Olivia knew they could not stay here forever. Every day spent in hiding was another day that human prisoners suffered under hegemony rule. We need to find a way to contact Earth survivors, Olivia said as they navigated through a particularly busy market section. If any humans escape the conquest, they need to know what is happening to the prisoners. Senna looked worried, her injured arm now healed, but still weak. How can we send a message? The hegemony monitors all standard communication channels. If they detect our signal, they will trace it back to this station. There are other ways, Rax said quietly, his skin pulsing with thoughtful colors. I have heard whispers about information brokers who specialize in untraceable communications. They operate from the older sections of the station. The older sections were exactly what that name implied. These were the original tunnels carved when Haven's Edge was first established centuries ago. The walls here were rough and unfinished, the lighting sparse and unreliable. Legitimate businesses avoided this area, which meant it was perfect for those who dealt in secrets and illegal services. They found the broker's office in a particularly dark corner, marked only by a small symbol carved into the stone. The door opened before they could knock, revealing a cramped space filled with communication equipment that looked both advanced and ancient. Behind a desk sat a being unlike any Olivia had seen before. Its body seemed to shift and change, as if it could not quite decide what form to take. I am called Whisper, the being said in a voice that sounded like wind through caves. I understand. You wish to send a message that powerful entities would prefer remain unheard. Torvin stepped forward, his massive frame somehow seeming protective. We need to contact human military forces, if any still exist free from hegemony control. Whisper's form rippled with what might have been amusement. That is a dangerous message to send. A hegemony pays generously for information about human resistance activities. Why should I help you instead of selling you to them? Because you are not stupid, Olivia said firmly. The hegemony does not stop with humans. They conquer everyone eventually. Today they enslave my people. Tomorrow it will be yours. Whisper was silent for a long moment, its form becoming more solid as it considered their request. What you say is true. Very well. I will help you, but not because of payment. I help because the hegemony once destroyed my homeworld, and I dream of the day they face consequences. The being led them deeper into the old tunnels, to a chamber that hummed with hidden power. Communication arrays filled the space, all connected in ways that made no sense to Olivia's understanding of technology. This is a relay network, Whisper explained. It can send messages across vast distances without using standard channels that the hegemony monitors. But it is expensive to operate and dangerous to use. If your message is intercepted, everyone in this network faces execution. How long will it take for a message to reach human forces? Olivia asked. Whisper's form pulsed uncertainly. That depends on whether human forces exist to receive it. We have detected encrypted signals from the Outer Rim territories, but we cannot break their codes. It might be humans. It might be pirates or smugglers. If I send your message, it will take approximately 6 weeks to reach those signals. 6 weeks felt like an eternity, but Olivia knew it was their only chance. I need to send everything I learned during my captivity. Prison locations, security protocols, research facility coordinates. If humans are out there preparing to fight back, this information could save thousands of lives, not for 3 days. Olivia worked with Whisper's technicians to compile her knowledge into a detailed report. She described every prison ship she had heard about through the Dominance's communication systems. She documented the hegemony's standard security procedures, their shift rotation patterns, their weakness in long-range sensor coverage. She included personal identification codes that would prove she was truly a human scientist and not a hegemony trap. During those long hours of work, other beings came to contribute their own intelligence. A former hegemony soldier who had defected brought military deployment data. A rescued prisoner from another species shared information about forced labor camps. Slowly, a comprehensive picture of hegemony operations emerged. "This is valuable," Whisper said as they reviewed the compiled data. "More valuable than you realize. This information represents decades of intelligence gathering compressed into one transmission. If the right people receive it, it could change the balance of power in this sector." On the evening of the third day, they were ready to send the message. Whisper gathered them in the transmission chamber and explained what would happen. "The signal will be split into thousands of fragments and sent through different relay points across the galaxy. It will reassemble only when it reaches the target coordinates. The hegemony might detect fragments, but they cannot track the source or destination. What are the chances this reaches humans?" Seda asked nervously. Whisper's form rippled in what might have been a shrug. "Unknown. But I have been sending messages through this network for 20 years, and the hegemony has never found this station. You have better odds than most, Dot." Olivia stood before the main transmission array and thought about what this moment meant. 4 years ago, she had been captured during humanity's first contact with alien life. She had watched the hegemony destroy Earth's orbital defenses and begin the systematic conquest of her homeworld. She had spent years as a prisoner, subjected to experiments and degradation. And now, because 3 aliens had chosen compassion over obedience, she had a chance to strike back. "Send it," she said firmly. The transmission chamber filled with light as the powerful arrays activated. Energy crackled through the air, and there, ancient rock walls seemed to vibrate with the force of the signal being sent. For several minutes, the equipment roared with power. Then, as suddenly as it began, the transmission ended. "The chamber fell silent, Dot. It is done," Whisper announced. "Your message is traveling through the relay network. In 6 weeks, we will know if anyone received it." But they did not have 6 weeks. 2 days after the transmission, alarms began wailing throughout Haven's Edge. Emergency announcements echoed through the tunnels in multiple languages, all saying the same thing. Hegemony warships had arrived at the station and were demanding access to search for escaped prisoners. "This is not coincidence," Torvin said as they gathered their few possessions. The hegemony somehow detected the transmission. Whisper appeared at their door, its form more agitated than Olivia had ever seen it. "You must leave immediately. The station. Authorities are negotiating, but the hegemony is threatening to destroy Haven's Edge if we do not surrender all refugees. They have 6 battle cruisers in orbit. Where can we go?" Rax asked, his bioluminescence flashing with panic. "Dot, there is a smuggler ship preparing to leave from Dock 17. The captain is named Cade, and he owes me favors. He will take you to the Outer Rim territories if you hurry." They ran through corridors now filled with panic as residents tried to decide whether to flee or cooperate with the coming search. Station security was setting up checkpoints, and armed guards were sealing off sections. The hegemony might not control Haven's Edge directly, but they had enough firepower in orbit to destroy it, and everyone knew it. Dock 17 was in the industrial section, where cargo ships loaded and unloaded goods. The smuggler vessel was already powering up, its engines creating a low rumble that vibrated through the deck plates. It was a battered freighter called the Stray Dog, its hull covered in mismatched patches and obvious battle damage. A human male stood at the loading ramp, checking a datapad. He looked up as they approached, and his eyes widened when he saw Olivia. "A human," he said in English with a thick accent she could not place. "I have not seen another free human in 3 years." Olivia felt her heart race. "You are human? You are free?" The man nodded. "I am Cade Chun. My family escaped during the initial invasion. We have been running ever since." He looked at her 3 companions. "And you travel with aliens who are not hegemony?" "They saved my life," Olivia said simply. "Now we need to get away from here before the hegemony finds us." Cade studied them for a moment, then made a decision.